Why aren't we still doing a Cola show? Why'd you make it?
Good first question. No, we ended up having our van break down in Pennsylvania. We were there for 3 days in a place where I don't even know where we were, but long story short, the singer from the Bloodhound Gang's brother picked us up in the tow truck and drove
amazing.
us. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So, you know, he first thing he said is like, "Are you Hail the Villain?" Like, or what's your band called? We're like, Hail the Villain. He's like, "Heard of a band called Bloodhound Gang?" Yeah. And my brother's a singer. Like, Jimmy Pop?
Jimmy Pop?
Yeah, I was like, this is unbelievable. Yeah, so very cool.
Good stuff.
Too bad that Jimmy Pop wasn't actually the truck driver.
Yeah, I know, that would just step it up one level, that's for sure. We're not that lucky.
Did you get an autograph?
No, obviously not. You know, we just wanted to get the van fixed. We still thought we were going to make it at that point. It was early in the morning. We still thought, oh, we could get there, but because our first show was Toronto, I think, and then Montreal.
That's right.
So we thought we were getting home, but we just nothing we could do.
So those,
any other celebrity proximity stories that you have?
Met Bono from U2. And that was when we signed our deal to Roadrunner. We went down there to showcase, and right after the show we went down and we knew that they were on Letterman that day. And we just walked down the street and someone's like, "You want to be on Letterman?" We're like, "Yeah, let's go on Letterman." And sure enough, Bono came out. We got autographs from Bono and met him. That was a pretty random type of encounter, but yeah, that was pretty, you know, I've never been starstruck like that before.
I would be more Jimmy Pop, like, to me, like...
Yeah, I know, but when you see Bono walking around, you're still like, Jesus, man, that guy's been around.
For anybody watching the interview, seeing a guy talking about meeting celebrities, getting picked up by tow trucks and shit, didn't know who this guy is. So introduce yourself and your band and the occasion here, and then we'll get into the fun stuff.
Sure, I'm Brian from Hail the Villain, and we are an evil, horrible, people-based rock band from Oshawa, Ontario.
Okay, apparently a big thing happening with you guys. You're making a big buzz, or...
Oh, you mean getting signed and like starting to play and getting our videos out?
Yeah,
it's been quite the trip. Something we didn't even think was going to happen even after we were signed. We thought, you know, it's still going to be a really slow build, but the way that the country's embraced it and the US has embraced it has been overwhelming.
The animated video, that was really, really cool.
I appreciate that.
And I think it's going to turn a lot of people onto the band. Why do you think more people don't do animation, and what was behind your video?
Okay, first of all, money and time. We could have had our record out 2 years ago, but we wanted to write a full movie. We wanted the thing to be animated. First quotes were like in the millions for a 3-minute video. So we had to work with a company that we found, Rune Entertainment, and it's just a lucky crapshoot that they wanted in and they wanted to do the video. And I think that more bands would love to do stuff like that, but on a first record, it's a really, really crazy thing to actually have happen, and Warner and Roadrunner were both just on board right away. It should help, I think, people get noticed that we're a creative band, that we want to create all forms of art, not just music. We want to write, you know, great blogs. We want to write comic books. We want to make movies. So that's what Hail the Villain is all about.
Okay. Now, villain, some terminology there. You know, good and evil. That's kind of being suggested. We're a music and political video magazine, so we like talking with bands about what issues concern them in the world today, either at home or abroad.
Right.
There's a lot of villains, if we can go with that theme.
I know where you're going, yeah.
Who are some of the villains according to you?
I'll start with Pope Benedict. Was probably the inspiration for the song Evil Has a Name. All organized religion is a big problem with me. It goes deeper into a lot of government stuff. I mean, I'm a guy that watches Zeitgeist over and over again. I embrace those type of things. I think, you know, that the world needs to take a deeper look into all things going on rather than just take a blind view of shit and just let it kind of flow off their backs. I mean, that we're living in a time when information age is so huge. You can get information about these things. You can find that conspiracies aren't just conspiracies. These things really do happen. And I'd say that I look at the bigger picture. And for me, it started with religion as a kid, listening to propaganda and bands like that. And then I kind of got opened up to what was going on in the world. And, you know, the last thing we just got on was the BP oil spill. And, you know, I hold not just BP accountable, but, you know, the American government as well. I mean, the consumption of oil is just ridiculous. We're living in a time when I mean, like, I think the Americans are at millions and millions of barrels of oil a day, and we do have the means for electrical vehicles, and we should be embracing that. Instead, we're not.
A lot of that waste is not necessary too. It's like, you know, it's not like you need oil for, I mean, you need oil for certain things, but a lot of it goes to waste.
goes to extreme waste, and it's just what we're gluttony. Like we are gluttons. Our type of this way of life, you know, the first world, if you want to call it that. You know, we overindulge in all things, and we throw away everything we don't think we need. But unfortunately, that's not the way that we should be living, and we in HTVzone, we don't stand for that type of thing.
Go to swimming pool, turn around, look at the tree.
Look, Caterpillar.
Sweet.
Yeah, he'll be big one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like HTVzone right now. Yeah. He's a little tiny guy, and he's on his way to being a full. Well, I don't know. Butterflies are kind of pretty, and we're not very good looking, but
I like the way you do it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, you're on, I guess, a good track right now. You know, Zeitgeist. How did Zeitgeist impact you? A lot of people say, you know, oh, it's overblown, this and that. What in that movie resonated with you?
Before you start, I want to say, what led you to that movie?
First of all, great. Yeah, my producer sent me it about 12 o'clock at night, and he said with a warning, all it said was "holy fuck," and I opened it up and I watched until about 2:30. I think it's a 2.5 hour movie-ish. I watched it from start to finish, and I went to bed. I couldn't sleep. I was just, as soon as it was over, I felt like, wow, you know, like I've thought about these things. I've studied it in university. I've learned these type of things over and over again that they're going on, but no one's ever come out and done it like that, where it's a visual that you never leave your mind. It's something that sticks in your mind, but it's also something that you just, the information is so beautifully laid out for you that if you can't understand what's going on in that movie and you can't understand these things are happening, then you've got to be a moron. I mean, it's just a very simple way to get that type of information.
Have you seen this,
Zeitgeist Addendum? Addendum I thought was even more shocking, not as much on the I guess trendy topics like religion and 9/11 and that stuff, but more on, you know, the bank stuff. And I mean, that's some serious stuff, and that stuff's been going on for a long time.
For those who don't know, let's say we didn't watch the movies and might not check it out, we can't spell Zeitgeist from hearing it.
It's in German, yeah, maybe that.
Yeah. The bank stuff. For those young viewers watching who might have never been exposed to this, you know, let's turn the interview into a Zeitgeist Part 3, okay?
Sure.
Maybe not as long, but because you have a day to go with. But
yeah.
What do the banks do? How do they operate?
The banks are basically in operation to provide debt for the entire country. And I mean, if you put $10, it becomes $100. $90 of that dollars never existed. So when you go take out a loan, that money doesn't even exist. You're taking out money that you never should have to pay back because it never happened in the first place. Somebody put $100,000 in and it became $1 million just like that, just because they said so. And it's an unfortunate circumstance. It's something that the Bank of Canada and the Federal Reserve of the US, they don't exist as forms of government. They're actually companies that run the pressing of money. And until our country can come back and own our own money and use it the way we want to use it, we'll never get any further in this world. And it's a real shame that we're tied to the banks.
How did they manage to wrestle, for those who don't know, all, I guess, this control from some kind of, you know, objective?
I think all major catastrophes are set up to create something that is going to be the future. And if you look at the way that Hitler took power, if you look at the way that Bush got his war that he wanted to get, I take this to the level of what the banks was the Great Depression, when they provided this, if you go with us, this will never happen again. We'll be able to stop it. And as we've seen the last couple of years, they can't stop anything. Wall Street's just as greedy as it will always be, and these are the times we live in. No one can stop depression from happening, but I think we have a better chance of preventing it if we were in control of our own money, not a company.
Speaking of depression, I'm just going to, you know, say for a second into a familiar topic, related economically speaking, drug companies, depression. I don't know if you've read about the theories that, you know, just a nationwide diagnosis of everybody as either depressed or anxious or some similarly related condition that then they're, you know, prescribed a drug for, and actually could be even mind-controlled drugs, not even antidepressants. And there's people who say that, you know, bipolar disorder doesn't even exist. It's just a lot of created
And it might be, but I'm someone who, as a performer and as a person has to stand in front of, like today, 10,000 people, I suffer from extreme forms of anxiety, and I do, and I have no shame to admit that I take medication for that, and it helps me get through many things. You know, I haven't gone as far as to be a Valium child yet, but one a day is all I need, and it does calm me down. It puts me in a mood where I think I'm insane enough. I'm not a drug addict. I don't do any type of drugs. I hardly drink alcohol. So for me, and I won't be weaned into that scene either. That rock star bullshit's just got nothing on us. And I would say that some forms of depression, I think it really does exist. I get into holes myself, and it's a tough place to be. And rather than kids committing suicide, I think it's important that there is some way to find help and recognize that we all do struggle.
Do you find it worrisome at all, though, that you know, CEOs of these drug companies, these big ones, have openly stated that they see every single person in the world on some form of a daily dosage drug?
Of course, again, you know, I couldn't agree more that as far as drug companies go, it's just another company. I mean, they're out to make money. The more people that are on drugs, the better for them. Just like, you know, cigarette companies, the more people smoking, the better for them. And that's, you know, it's a big catch-22 in the end. I mean, we do need forms of medication. We can't go through the world, you know, getting polio again and having people who have HIV die without their medication. I mean, these things do have to happen. Unfortunately, you know, a lot of these drug companies, just like the H1N1 virus, are an absolute crock of shit. I never got my shot, never felt the need to get my shot, and I think that it was a joke.
Yeah. But also the idea is like, no matter what, somebody's in control of you in a sense because that pill, right?
They're producing that pill.
Of course,
in
and
a lab.
I do not think for a second that you guys are wrong. I believe that 100%. That, as I said, drug companies are companies, and they're out to make money. And but I do believe at the same time we do need forms of medication. Not always. I mean, if you have a chest cold, you don't go get an antibiotic just because you're done. No, I don't.
Really?
No, of course not, because I know it doesn't work. I mean,
I'm always getting antibiotics for my colds. I'm like,
see, but this is a ridiculous fact, is everyone knows that you can't clear it with antibiotics. You know, it's just, that's the truth. And I was lucky enough to have my doctor say that was the truth. But I mean, most of the time they are shoving stuff down your throat, like make yourself feel better, whatever it is, right?
Yeah. You think that if it's possible now or if it's happening, that the medicine they give you gets you to take even more medicine?
Yeah, I think it's just like any gateway drug. I mean, you start with marijuana, it moves you up to crack. I mean, that's the way Oshawa is anyway, where we're from. So, I mean, it's probably the same type of deal.
okay, now
You're going to move on to?
Yeah, we are winding down. This has been a real pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
I hope to do it again soon.
Definitely, anytime.
Hope you weren't too bored with our questions.
Hey, you know what? I think that the more people that want to get to know bands and get to know people, rather than just, hey, where'd you guys form and where'd you come from and all that type of shit, that's the boring questions. I'd rather be challenged, and that's what you guys did today. So that was a great interview.
Real pleasure for us.
Thank you very much.
What's next?
What's next for you guys?
We get to do 2 shows with Limp Bizkit in the States this week, and then we fly over to Singapore and Japan to do some crazy shows. Stevie Wonder's on it, Slash, Katy Perry, Smashing Pumpkins. It's going to be a great time. Then Uproar. So Uproar Festival starts across North America August 13th, 14th, something like that.
Travel safe, have fun, and say hi to the boys in LB for us.
Thank you very much, guys.